Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stand. Rasmus Hojlund to Manchester United just got a lot hotter and a lot closer. In fact, I was late because I was actually on the phone just exchanging messages with him. That's a lie. But what's not a lie is that we do have some significant updates this Sunday evening in relation to Rasmus Hojlund. We know that next week has the potential to be a big week. We know that PSG are hot on the trail of Rasmus Hojlund, but two very significant updates have come in the last half an hour from two very significant Italian sources in this summer transfer window. One of them, of course, is Fabrizio Romano, and we will start off with that, where Fabrizio is saying he understands that Manchester United are now set to make their official bid for Rasmus Hojlund. PSG are speaking to the player side, but Manchester United are set to bid soon. They want to avoid any potential hijacking from PSG. Man United have agreed players' personal terms as a long time ago, and that is the player is prioritising a move to Manchester United. That is what Fabrizio Romano is saying. And then another journalist that you might be aware of this summer or even previous summers is Alfredo Pedula, who's been very good as well, Italian source, says Hojlund has asked his agents to always give priority to the Manchester United offer. Very important week ahead. They're waiting for the right bid. Now, look, it will be a very important week ahead. What is the consequences? What is the meaning of these updates that are coming in relation to Rasmus Hojlund? Well, it's an early Sunday night show because I don't feel well and I want to get some sleep tonight, but it needed to be an early show anyway because these are big significant updates that I think people are probably misreading, if I'm being honest with you. So look, where to start? Well, where to start is very much this. Rasmus Hojlund wants to join Manchester United. I've said this so many times and we've been right on this channel since June. Early June, late May. We were on about it. Nobody was talking about it. And yeah, that's the situation. Yash says it's a misleading thumbnail. Look, if you don't want to watch the channel and you're part of that liar group that spreads bullshit about this channel, go away and spread it on Twitter and don't watch. Don't be part of this community. The bid goes in is not false. Ryan says it's misleading and false. I'm just going to just recheck this. I mean, I don't feel particularly well. I know people like to bully and start to try and wind me up, and this used to happen in the past. But I am just not going to. So Hojlund bid goes in. Hojlund bid goes in. Bid goes in on the thumbnail. Right. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So what's your issue with that? Have you not listened to what I've just said there about what Fabrizio has said? The bid is going in from Manchester United. Nobody knows when it goes in, but it's going in. An official bid goes in. The bid is going in. You can argue about whether it's tonight, tomorrow, next week, or last Friday, but the bid is going in. You know, do you go up to your dad and say, at what point did you do my mother? You know, it went in at some point and you were born. This is what's happening. The bid is going in. If you don't like what we're discussing about, go and watch the One Show. It's not on a Sunday night. Tough. Go and touch grass. Go and do something else. If you want to be part of the community, you want to talk about something that's really exciting, get involved. If you don't, please go. Go and spread your toxicity elsewhere. Because this is good news. This is positive news. And as I was saying, in relation to what Alfredo Pedula is saying, the player may well have contact from the agent with PSG. And Atalanta may well have contract from PSG. But the player side is, as has been reported there tonight, always prioritise Manchester United. So what does that mean? Well, it means a couple of things really. It basically means that Rasmus Hojlund is putting out there that he wants to come to Manchester United. Now, somebody might quite rightly say, you know what? If I want to go to Man United and I play for Birmingham City and Man United will only offer 10 million for me and Liverpool will offer 40 million for me, Birmingham City are going to say, you're going to Liverpool, 40 million. and I'm going to say, I want to go to Man United. And they're going to go, you're going to Liverpool because the offer's way too much. So, look, there's still potential barriers there if United don't negotiate well. You don't just get the player because the player wants to come to you. However, it's really, really, really encouraging that United have been putting a lot of work into this deal for a very long time. The deal that they're going to offer Atalanta is a good deal. And Rasmus Hojlund wants to go to Manchester United. This is not a toxic situation. And what I mean by that is there's not a bad relationship between Atalanta and Manchester United or Atalanta and Rasmus Hojlund. There is a threesome going on here and everybody's having a good time. And everyone's getting involved. And nobody's being ignored and it's not, disrespectful. Effectively, Rasmus Hojlund is grateful to Atalanta and wants to go to Manchester United. And Manchester United are respectful of Atalanta and want Rasmus Hojlund. And Atalanta know that Rasmus Hojlund wants to go and want to get a good price. And that's what's going in. That's what's happening. So effectively, this is good for Manchester United. And effectively, I think it's now just going to be a matter of time until the deal gets done. Now, what is the bid that Man United are putting in? I think, well, I've always been told that it will be somewhere between 40 and 50 million pounds, which puts it, I don't know what the conversion rate is. I think 52 is 60 million euros. So Atalanta want about 60 million euros, which is about 52 million pounds. I actually think the way that this has gone, United will probably do it for about 40 to 50 million quid. The PSG thing does somewhat muddy the waters a little bit because they have the potential to go in and do something ridiculous. But look, it's positive news. It's positive news. Albie, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club. So look, let me clarify again where this is coming from and what is being said. So Fabrizio Romano has said this, that Manchester United about to submit their first official bid. PSG are speaking to the player, but Man United are looking to bid very quickly so they can stop a potential hijack from PSG. Man United have agreed personal terms and the player is prioritising Manchester United. And then Alfredo Padula has said that Hojlund has asked his agent to always give priority to Manchester United. So it's a very important week ahead. Now, there's another thing worth considering here, because quite rightly, people will say, well, why don't PSG just put a bid in? But it's not that easy. It's not that easy because United have done so much work around Rasmus Hojlund and he wants to come to United. So United can put the bid in knowing that the player wants to come. PSG could go to Atalanta and put a bid in, but they haven't got the player. So PSG are talking to the player and they haven't got the player. And I don't think they're going to get the player because ultimately PSG could say Atalanta will give you what you want and Atalanta can go, okay, you've got to go and speak to the player, obviously, and then the player can go, I don't want to join you. And that's the problem PSG. I don't necessarily know that PSG will put a bid in because they may hit a brick wall of Rasmus saying, I want to go to Man United. I know they're going to put a good bid in. I don't want to go to you. And it's a little bit like Man United, if we had the money, going to Jude Bellingham and saying, we want to buy you. And then he goes, I want to go to Real Madrid. United wouldn't put a bid in. And it's exactly the same as that. So there's all this fear around PSG, but actually that's the scenario. We go to Bellingham and say, before he'd signed for Madrid, we want to buy you at the end of the day, but Real Madrid have done all the work, and he goes, I want to go to Real Madrid. So I think it's looking good for United. Hojlund has always been Man United's priority. Fabrizio replied, always has been. Slow Sports News, it's been such a long process with Rasmus Hojlund, and I think for some fans, I have to remember, and some of you have to remember, that they're coming into this fresh. They're probably where we were a month ago. We've been talking about this for a very long time, that Rasmus Hojlund to Manchester United. We can have all the cliches, all the little jokes, hotter than the sun, everything like that, but it's nearly 2 months since we started talking about it. So I get the nervousness, I get the panic, but if you know the full story, I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed about this, and I'm actually quite positive because I personally didn't think this deal would get done until the middle of next week when we come back from the tour. I think the transfer window has the potential to go quite quiet over the next period of time because a lot of clubs are on tour. They're all around the world. So I think from United's point of view, Rasmus Hojlund, get him into Carrington early next week, and then by the time we're back from the tour training, he'll be ready to train. But there is a bit of competition from PSG there. Let's get the deal done a little bit quickly. I mean, look, if we had a here we go for Rasmus Hojlund by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you've got him into Carrington by Thursday, he's got the weekend off, hasn't he? Because you're not going to fly out to America for the Dortmund game. So, look, the fact that it speeds things up is good. End of the day. So, look, I'm very relaxed about this. I know there's a lot of haters out there, and I know there's a lot of people who are jealous of this community and what we've built together, and I know there's a lot of people out there probably sat there with sad little lives praying that this deal falls through so they can come on and give us a bit of abuse in a couple of weeks when he's holding up a PSG shirt. And life is full of surprises, as the great late Cilla Black once sung. But I can take a horse to water. You've got to drink it. They've been telling you this for weeks. I'm not saying I haven't got things wrong in the past. Chris Smalling. Virgil van Dijk's the new Dutch Chris Smalling. Turned out to be the best centre-back in the world for a short period of time. But on this one, and we were the same about Alexis Sanchez. We were the first with Alexis Sanchez in the United fan base, and we were right. And we'll be right about Rasmus Hojlund as well. It's Manchester United's player, and they've done a lot of work on it, and they've been doing a lot of work on it for a very long time. And he wants to come here. It's there to be done. When it will happen, we'll have to wait and see. I'd be surprised if PSG interest was concrete. If Mbappe does go, I'd expect them to replace him with a Galactico or someone like Moani, so I'm not that concerned. To Smoggy. Thing about PSG, though, in fairness, is they've probably got the money to go and get two strikers, which is exactly what we want to do as well, don't we? We would like to get that. Key questions coming in, by the way. Key questions coming in. Get your calls in, 0371. I've just been on TalkSport for 2 hours, so I'm a little bit in that mode. But just talking about toxicity, Grant says, thanks for positive news, Mark. Keep up the great work. We as a community appreciate your work. Well, I'm glad people do, Grant. I'll give you a bit of love there. Sunday's a toxic day. I try and avoid social media on a Sunday because you know what it is? I learned this a long time ago. On a Sunday, unhappy people become very unhappy people because tomorrow's back to work day, back to reality, and they realise that their lives are not the lives they want it to be. So they get very toxic on a Sunday, and that's the way it's always been. And you see it in our chat sometimes, and you certainly see it on social media. This morning, there was a clip going round of Harry Maguire after the game yesterday, and there's a United fan filming him, calling him names, right? So, quite rightly, this has gone out on social media and people have said it's unacceptable to do that. Unfortunately, for me, I've been tagged into a lot of these saying it's your fault. This is why Harry Maguire gets abuse, it's because of you. So I get abuse. It's almost ironic and hypocritical what happens. So, United fan gives Harry Maguire a load of abuse in America, and it's my fault. I tell you what, if I've got that power over people, I don't know why I'm not driving 10 gold Ferraris. If I can influence people from across the Atlantic Ocean, then why am I not driving around in 10 gold Ferraris? Because that is I'm basically Jesus in a bad way. Incredible. So I've had a load of abuse today, used to it. That's just the way it is. Exactly the same thing happened last year in Australia. Some Australian United fans booed him. That was my fault. So, first of all, just for the idiots, I have not and do not ask or condone people to give personal abuse to any footballer. Not even a Man United player. Any footballer. Even Liverpool players, who are our biggest rival, I would not ask anybody to go and give any Liverpool player abuse in the street. I'm not even talking about Man United, the club I support. I'm talking about Liverpool players. Do not, in the street, go up to Liverpool players and give them abuse. It's bang out of order. They're footballers. So, look, I'm just worried that apparently I can influence people. I'm really worried that there are people so thick that they go and do things influenced by me that I don't even tell them to do. So I just want to make that very clear, because, you know, there's a few people that have given me a lot of abuse today, saying that it's my fault that players get abuse. If I recommend you go and watch The Sopranos because it's a good TV series, and then you go and murder someone, I don't get done for murder. I'm asking you to. I'm recommending a good TV series. So if I say to you, I don't think Harry Maguire's good enough for Man United from, you know, years of experience of watching him, that doesn't mean go and give him personal abuse. And if people think that, it amazes me. It really, really does. But the funny side of this is, I was going to get Seb on the show tonight, and I'm sure you all would have loved it. So Seb, I'm sure many of you know, is my son. He's 6 years of age, past his bedtime, so can't get him on. But we went on a walk today to post a card for his nephew, and he had his little United kit on, and I was asking him like who his favourite players are, and he likes Casemiro because I think he likes the name, and he likes Bruno, and some of you might know, he said Harry Maguire again, and I was like, oh right, okay. He says, and you know what he said? He said, Daddy, you don't like Harry Maguire, do you? And I said, I don't really think he's good enough. And you know what he said? He said, just because he sometimes scores goals for the other team, that's not a reason not to like him. He's trying his best, and he just wants to be good. And that's why I like him, because I think people just tell him he's not very good, and that's not very nice. And I thought, you know what? That's not a bad mentality to have, is it? But, you know, my son, one of his favourite players is Harry Maguire, and he's not about to get kicked out and live in the shed because it's an opinion and he's entitled to have it. I don't know why. I don't know why Seb likes Harry Maguire. I really don't. It might be the name. He likes Harry Potter, Harry Maguire. It might be because he's heard that people think he's not very good and he's quite an empathetic person. Because actually, we were talking about, I'm going to get him on when it's a normal day show and he can tell you himself, but he was talking about De Gea, and he said, oh, you're sad that De Gea's leaving Man United, aren't you? And I went, well, I like David De Gea. And you know what he said? He said, David should not be unhappy, because if he goes and plays for a team, another team, and Man United play that team and they don't score, then he can be happy because he can show that he's really good and they got it wrong. And I thought, yeah, he's not going to get a move to a Premier League club, but the principles of it are very good. I think there's in 10 years' time, there's potentially a good heir to the throne. It might be very different content, but there's a good heir to the throne because he's got a good head on his shoulders. Do you know if United are having an open training session in Houston, and who from United stand will come to the game versus Madrid, says Robble. It'd be Adam and Ryan are on tour, so yeah, they'll be there. Mark, apparently you're Professor X from the X-Men, says SK. And yeah, look, at the end of the day, Maguire should just be more ambitious and leave, says Gani. Look, I just don't get it. Obviously there's a lot of sarcasm in what I've just said a few minutes ago, but there's also a serious message there as well. I've never seen anybody in the chat be applauded or glamorised for being personally abusive towards players. I've certainly never, ever encouraged anybody to go and be abusive to players. And my son, one of his favourite players is Harry Maguire. So can people just stop with this stupid Twitter-led nonsense about having an opinion on a footballer's ability means that you are encouraging personal abuse? And can I just say as well, and I will say this, if you criticise a British player, it's abuse. If you criticise De Gea, clip him up and ridicule him for 6 months, it's fair game. And you know, Martial the same. Paul Pogba, booed at Old Trafford. It's fine, he deserved it. You know what? If you want to get into the actual detail here, my son's one of my son's favourite players is Harry Maguire. So deal with it. And secondly, I've seen foreign players actually abused, but it's fair game. When it's a British player, it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. We need to be a little bit cleverer and a little bit more even-handed here. Anyway, let's get back to the football. So look, in relation to Manchester United, I think it's going to be a big week ahead. Look, it's a Sunday night show. The United stand, you could have stopped it. The United stand started off on a Sunday night show, 8 o'clock, once a week, about 10 people watching it. Now look at it. But it's your success story, and it's your show. I love the Sunday night show. So get us some question in. But look, I think that the Rasmus Hojlund deal has obviously given United a little bit of a rocket up the arse, definitely. But as Cigar says there with his super chat, any updates on player sales? And this is something United do need to get moving on. Now, we know Anthony Elanga's on the US tour, but apparently he's going to be flying back, and he may well already be flying back because United have gone from New York now to San Diego / Houston for Real Madrid and the game against Wrexham. He will be coming back, Elanga, to sign for Nottingham Forest. Dean Henderson is still on the tour, but negotiations are going on with Nottingham Forest. Of course, Dean Henderson hasn't played a minute under Eric Ten Hag. Ruthless Ten Hag, I call him, because Dean Henderson's gone on tour, done pre-season, never been given a minute by Ten Hag because he's looking to move him on. Fred is apparently being rested for the first couple of games and now has got personal issues, but again is another player that Ten Hag is looking to move on. That's Elanga, Henderson and Fred. Donny looks right on the edge, so he's not on the edge of the squad, not on the edge of anything else. So he looks like he's going to be moved on. Obviously, we've mentioned Harry Maguire. He's got a decision to be made. So look, I think United really this next few days is going to be dominated by Rasmus Hojlund, I think, early part of the week, but also I think that will be accompanied by player sales as well. Manchester Derby and Rugby World Cup final in one evening, says Albi Lad. Oh, he's looking ahead. Got to make some sales before end of the month, says Manchester Drake. And I hope you're feeling better, Mark. Looking forward to another entertaining Manchester United season, says Christian. And you know what? I was just actually, I don't know whether I mentioned this morning, but and you know, I've got to say, well done to a lot of you and you know a few people on social media as well. It's really interesting, you know, when you see a problem that everybody else sees, and you become enlightened by it. I would have stuck with De Gea. Loyalty. Some people say stubbornness, blind faith. I would have stuck with De Gea. I really like De Gea. But I knew we were going to have to do something about it. I was just like, we haven't got loads of money to spend this summer. He's just won the Golden Glove. He's still a good goalkeeper. I'd keep him for another year. Maybe bring a younger goalkeeper in as transition. So everyone knows my stance on that. Obviously, that's not what we did. We brought Onana in. He's a modern goalkeeper. That's why we've done it. But you know what? You look at Arsenal last night, and this is really interesting. I'll just mention this to you. So we've got a modern goalkeeper now with Onana. Obviously, Pep's done that. Klopp's done that. You look at Ramsdale last night. I know he made a couple of mistakes, but this is like forward passes last season. Ramsdale was 10th amongst the Premier League goalkeepers with a 78% forward pass rate, right? Passes per 90, he was 13th with 18 passes per 90 and an 86% success rate. De Gea was ahead of him with 21 and an 85% pass rate. Save rate last season, he had a save rate of 68%, Ramsdale, and David De Gea's was 70%. Coming for crosses, De Gea was bottom, but Ramsdale was second bottom. And obviously David De Gea had more clean sheets. Ramsdale's quite similar to David De Gea. And we played Arsenal last night. It just got me thinking, you know, one, congratulations to all of you lot who said we need to do it now with De Gea. And we have done it now. But that could be a problem for Arsenal next season that we've solved. What about Florian as a striker? Asked after we played England and you said we just need a number 9. Hope you feel better, says Joshua. Don't know a lot about that person, to be honest with you. And do you think Brandon Williams is going to go? I think with Brandon Williams, it's very, very difficult to move a player like that on because United are... let me just get rid of Manca, man. Okay, there we go. I know you think it's funny that tomorrow's thumbnail might be bid delay, but I actually find it funny that you're quite thick because every show we do in the transfer window is driven by the story. It's driven by a source. I don't wake up in the morning and go, bid goes in, and then next day, transfer blow, or next day after that, bid rejected. This is what happens in the world of Manchester United as sourced by very good journalists. So if you don't get that, again, don't watch. Really. Come back when the season starts and it's all about Martial was crap or, you know, we've won 4-0. If you don't understand what a transfer window is, then I can't really explain it any better than the fact that every show we do in the transfer window, unless it's from a private source, in which case, you know, there's only one player that we've had really well sourced information on this summer, it will come from a source. But as I said, look, it's Sunday, isn't it? You've got to go to work tomorrow, haven't you? And your life's shit. That's why we've got some people in the chat doing that. It's sad. Sort your life out. Instead of being toxic and spreading hateful lies about people, put a smile on your face and make your life better. It's such a mirror. It's such a mirror. And it's so sad. Because, you know, I've been in that position. I remember being in that position when I was 19. Horrible job. Hated it. Sunday night, I'd be so fed up. Like, oh my God. You know, it might take a few years. It might take a few weeks. It might take a few months. But better yourself. You know, go and study something else. Get your CV sorted. You know, ditch your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Whatever it is that's not making you happy, try and put a smile on your face. You're only here once. You're here once. Good time, not a long time. One of my good friends died at 40. He'd do anything for another year. Who knows how many years you've got? Stop wasting your time reflecting your frustration and anger on others because your life's not what it should be. You're in control of it. I'm trying to help. Like, I'm seriously trying to help. Like, you shouldn't spend your time being a negative, toxic hater. And people will go, well, you are, but I'm not. I'm genuinely not. And I don't think most people in the chat are. I'm passionate about football. And Manchester United is my football club. And if somebody says to me, well, you're always slagging off players, I'm also slagging off the Glazers. Does that make me a hateful, toxic person? No, that's all right, because we don't like the Glazers. You see, hypocrisy. You're a toxic hater if you say a player's not good enough to play for Man United. But if you say that the Glazers are terrible for the club, that's fine. You can't pick and choose. The bottom line is there's a very strong, significant difference between being passionate about something and being just full of hate and toxicity. Personally, I don't hate anyone. I don't. I think life has taught me not to do that. There are players at Man United that shouldn't be here, that are not good enough based on my personal experience of watching them over a period of time. The Glazers should not be here based on years of experience of them destroying this football club. I don't hate those people. I just don't want them to be here so that we can become better. My passion and drive is to see Man United where I've seen them before, challenging for titles, winning titles, you know, challenging to be one of the best teams in the world. That's where I want to see us. And based on experience and knowledge, and opinion, the path to that is getting rid of some of these players and getting rid of the Glazers. It's not a toxic hate abuse thing. It's just, I think I know what we need to get there, and being ruthless will have to happen. If you have a cat and you leave it in a room with its cat litter for a week, it's not going to look good. There's going to be some shit in there, and you're going to have to clear it out. And it's the same as Man United. 10 years without a title is like leaving a cat in a room for 7 weeks with a cat litter tray. It is full of shit and it needs cleaning out. And that's what needs to happen. It was a dream come true to finally watch our team live in person. 2-0 win. Wish you could have done a live show here in New York. Maguire wasn't that bad, but I still booed him, says Brooklyn. Well, I don't agree with booing players, but we've seen Maguire booed. We've seen Pogba booed. We've seen Martial booed. I don't agree with it, but, you know, if I ditched my girlfriend, could you take me on a date, says David. I don't know about that. People don't seem to understand. Please like the video for Mark Goldridge, says Haranda. Okay. Players should have gone weeks ago, says Samuna. And completely addicted to the channel, Mark. Keep up the good work, says Staffy. Thank you, man. I'm trying to just go through some of the chats and also read the members out as well. Derek here from South Africa, new member. Thank you, Derek. Welcome to the Members Club. I've seen Giggs get booed, says Scarboy. Yeah, but I disagree with you there, Scarboy. There is no way players used to get booed or shouted at before Twitter. Never. It's fans' fault. Before Twitter existed, if you went to a football game, everybody was holding hands, applauding every miss and every bad player. That's what it was like. Of course, it wasn't. I went to a lot of games before Twitter, and actually, in the late '80s, football was bloody horrific on the terrace. But I've also went to plenty of games in the early noughties where people used to get on Ryan Giggs' back as well. And if you know, you know. If you were there, you would know. Why did they used to get on Ryan Giggs' back? I mean, look, Ryan Giggs was a fantastic player, but he could be quite frustrating at times as well. So, you know, there would be games where he'd try and take his player on 5 times and get tackled 4 times. So, yes, there would be times where the crowd would get on his back, like they get on the back of any player if they're having a bad game. McTominay's 27, says Akash. Gone very quiet on... gone very, very quiet on Scott McTominay, to be fair. I get the feeling he'll stay. I mean, look, I don't know that Harry Maguire will leave. There is an inherent problem at Manchester United, isn't there? And it's I was talking to a Newcastle fan a couple of hours ago on Talk Sport, and I'd been saying that Harvey Barnes is a real Eddie Howe type of signing, and he was saying, "Well, you're just being offensive," and I said, "No." You know, it's a reasonable deal. He won't be on stupid wages. And Eddie Howe has done it before with Trippier and Dan Burn, where he buys these players that nobody else really goes for, and then he makes them good again. United buy players and give them stupid wages. I mean, look, for example, right? I really like Anthony. So let's pick a player I really like. I really like Anthony. We spent 85 million euros on him, and we gave him 200 grand a week. Apparently, it was a 10 times increase on his wage. If Anthony doesn't do well this season and becomes a flop, we're back where we always are. £85 million player, 200 grand a week, flopped. What do you do? Every signing we make, we spend so much money on it, we make it that they've got to be a success. Otherwise, we're in trouble. I don't know why nobody at Man United has ever figured out the transfer algorithm, because it's common knowledge. It's common knowledge. Pep Guardiola will tell you it. Eric Ten Hag will tell you it. It's common knowledge and has been for decades that when it comes to transfers, if you have a 70% strike rate, you're doing bloody well. And what I mean by that is, if 70% of your transfers do well, you're doing bloody well. Some managers don't even hit 40%. Some managers haven't even hit 20%, but the average is about 60%. 60% of transfers will do well to very well, which means there's a flop rate of about 30 to 40%. And yet every player Man United buy, they give them stupid wages and pay stupid transfer fees. So, I mean, it's just crap business, because for every player we buy, we know 40% of them we won't ever be able to sell. So this is why we've got to do better with transfers. It's why we've got to do better with wages, because there will always be transfers that don't work, but 2 years later you can't sell them because you've given them wages that no one else would ever pay. And I really hope Anthony works out. Of course I do. But if he doesn't, he'll be another player that we can't get rid of because of the wages. Tommy says, "Have you ever been to the Den?" I've never been to the Den. But I'm there on Friday. I'm playing in a tournament there on Friday. So there we go. Mark, keep up the good work. How many more players do you think we will sign, says Ashley? And how many do you think we'll need? And Paul says, "Mark, read those messages you were getting on Twitter regarding the joke with your son and Maguire a few weeks back. Cannot believe the abuse you get," says Paul. And Sanjay, welcome to the members club. Mate, there's just some very worrying people out there. How many players do I think Man United need to sign? Look, we've got Onana, Mount, Hojlund will be coming in. I would get Amrabat and a centre-back, and I would say that's reasonably good. We do need another striker. So we're not going to get that. So that's what my ideal summer would be. 2 strikers, 2 midfielders, a centre-back and a goalkeeper. If I'm being really greedy, I would like to upgrade the centre-back to Kim Min-jae, which I think should have happened. I would like a better midfielder than Amrabat. I'd like to see a Casido or a Rice or someone like that. And obviously I'd like a second striker to go with Rasmus Hojlund. I'm happy with Mountain and Arna. But, you know, we are what we are and we'll get what you get. How long do you think it will take to recover from Ed Woodward and co, says Dasbo? As soon as we get a new owner, basically. As soon as we get a new owner, I think things will start to improve. But we don't know what's happening with that, and I'm certainly not about to go into that sort of a story tonight because we just don't know what's going to happen with the sale. I mean, Avram Glazer was at the game yesterday, refused to answer questions about the sale, said he was just here to enjoy the game. I seen a clip of him smiling and laughing when being shouted at about the sale. I mean, they don't care. Like, I think Faz did the video last night talking about it. There was a bit of an update there. One source says that the Glazers just don't care about the fans. Well, Slow Sports News, they've never cared about the fans. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, realistically, I never thought there'd be a prospect of them being in charge when we play Wolves. But that's only 3 weeks tomorrow that we play Wolves. So 3 weeks tomorrow we play Wolves. Unbelievable. So I don't think that there's anything imminent, but I would love it if there was. You know, Avram Glazer must have turned up for more games this year than he has done in any other year. That in itself is quite worrying. They, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I mean, there's a lot of positivity in the fan base at the moment. I can't deny that I feel quite positive. As I said yesterday ahead of the Arsenal game, I was really positive. I massively, as a community, we were so pro Ten Hag. Remember when the press were going Poch and ex-players were saying Poch, and it was us going Ten Hag, Ten Hag, Ten Hag. You know, we were passionate about Ten Hag. He's the right guy, and he's proved that he's the right guy, and he's doing the ruthless things, and he's had a really good season. So I'm really, really positive about the Ten Hag management. I'm positive about what we achieved last year. The transfers, some of them are really positive. Obviously, some of them are limited by the budget, but he's still getting players in. Some of the decision-making he's made, I'm really positive about as well. So there's a lot to be positive about around Manchester United, but you do worry about that positivity being misinterpreted by the Glazers that were happy with how the club's being run. That's what concerns me. And I was thinking about it yesterday. There is a lot of positivity in this fan base, but the Glazers are so bad, such bad owners, and they've got their finger is not on the pulse. They don't understand football. They do not understand football. So when they see positivity in results and transfers, they could easily misinterpret that fans are happy, let's stay. And that does worry me a little bit. But of course, I go back to what I said a year ago. It's not the protests that will remove the Glazers, it's money. They can't afford to build or renovate the stadium, and that will cost them a lot of money. So they have to make some sort of decision, but obviously one decision that keeps them here is investment. Mark, it's my dad's birthday on Wednesday. I can't watch live that day, so I was hoping you could wish him a happy birthday, please. P.S. I can't speak, says Goody. Yeah, happy birthday to your dad. I hope he has a good day. And obviously we've got a big week ahead as well. We've got, I'm trying to get my head around this. 1:30 in the morning on Thursday, UK time, is Real Madrid. And 3:30 in the morning on Wednesday is Wrexham. I think I got that right. And then somebody will have to tell me when we're playing Dortmund. I think it's early hours of the morning on the Wednesday, on the Sunday, a week today. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, I think pre-season's always... It made me laugh, actually, today, right? This might make you laugh. I don't know why. I was sort of reading some sort of debate going on between, I think it was a United account started it, then an Arsenal fan, and then a Liverpool fan came in. And basically it was something along the lines of this. Arsenal fans, I think it was that video of Arsenal fans fighting, and somebody put some caption that was funny, and I was reading the replies, and then an Arsenal fan had said, it's only pre-season, we'll smash you in the real season. And then a Liverpool fan had said, don't worry about it. They beat us in pre-season last year, and then we beat them 7-0. And they were both the Arsenal fan and Liverpool fan were liking it and going, yeah, sort of patting each other on the back. And I thought, But correct me if I'm wrong, we did beat Liverpool in pre-season last year, and they did beat us 7-0, but all they got was a can of 7-Up. We actually got Champions League football and 2 cup finals. So, and that, I'm not saying that's going to happen because of pre-season, but what I'm saying is you can't completely dismiss pre-season. And all I'm interested in is what's best for Manchester United. What Arsenal go and do is up to them, and I think they'll have a good season. But I was pretty happy with the way we played in the first half yesterday, and we've still got Onana to come in. So confidence is important. Starting the season off is really important. And I think that the way that we played in the first half, especially yesterday, and the improvements we can make by bringing in certainly Hojlund and Onana, but also hopefully another midfielder. What I want next season to be, if I'm being completely honest, is if 75 points is what we got last season, or 74, that's not the benchmark, that's the level. So next season, I want to go around 80 to 85 points, because I can't remember the last time we did that. And that is where I want us to be next season. And to do that, you've got to replicate all the results from last year, but you've got to eradicate some of the shitty results like Newcastle away, Liverpool away. You've got to go there and get points. And that's what I'm looking for next season. When should we expect to see good football, Marks, as Enjoy Writing? Well, I think we saw some good football yesterday. I thought the transition was quick. I thought the structure of the way that we played was good. Everybody knew what their job was. And that was without Onana, who will make a massive difference, and without a proper number 9. So I think the football can be better than last year, and transitional football can be very easy on the eye. So hopefully we will start to see that next season. Hi Mark, hope you and the family is fine. Ahmad just tweeted, injuries not serious. Would you ever do a tour in Germany, says Tala. I don't know how many Man United fans we've got in Germany, if I'm being honest, so I don't know. Abdullah says, would you like Mitrovic? No. For me, Rasmus Hojlund is exactly the sort of signing to go for. Primarily because it's the player that Erik ten Hag wants, but more importantly, a young striker. Look, give me a 20-year-old striker with the potential to be world-class, with a manager that can develop, over a 30-year-old striker that is only ever going to go down. And look, if you talk about Harry Kane, 30-year-old striker, one of the best strikers in the world, let's talk. But if you're talking about someone like Mitrovic, I'm not really interested in that type of a striker. We are in a period of progression. We've been in a period of progression since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, but we actually are. When I say we are in it, like evidentially, we are in a period of progression. We've gone from shit to third and a couple of cup finals, one of which we won, and we're in the Champions League again now. That is progression. The club can say it's a project. The club can say we're progressing, but you have to actually do it. And we actually are progressing. A year in, under Ten Hag, we are progressing. But we're not there yet. The journey is not complete. So we're still in a period of progression. And in a period of progression, you can and should bring in progressive players. Now, the danger in bringing in a 30, 34, 45, whatever year-old striker is that if you're in a period of progression, by the time you get to where you want to be, they'll be a lot older. The genius of bringing in someone like Rasmus Hojlund is that in the period of progression, by the time you get there, if he progresses with you, hopefully he's 22, 23, and he's a lot better than he is now, and you've got a prime striker for your years of dominance. That's the plan. It's easier said than done, but that's the plan. We're trying to build a team that in the next year or two can compete for the big prizes, and there should be progressive players part of that. Garnacho, Mainu, progressive players. Rasmus Hojlund as well. We need a good balance in that squad. We've got really good experience. Casemiro, Varane, Bruno's experience, Luke Shaw, late 20s sort of players. You've got some mid-20s players now, which is where Marcus Rashford is. Jadon Sancho's approaching that. Anthony won't be far off. Wan-Bissaka. Martinez must not be far off that. And you need a clutch of players that are developmental players as well. And I think Rasmus Hojlund is exactly the sort of player we should be bringing in. Any update on the Ahmad injury and how this may affect Outgoings, says Luke? Only what I've just heard on screen there, that apparently Ahmad's injury is not as bad as some have said. Mario says, I was at the game last night and we looked great, but we need a forward. Also, Maguire's tackle on Odegaard was unnecessary and all the fans in the stands were laughing. He needs to go. Great show, says Mario. You know what, though? I must just say, not just in relation to Maguire, but Martinez as well. I saw Arteta moaning about some of the tackles and protecting the players. You're not Man City and you're not Pep Guardiola. I think Arteta's done a good job at Arsenal, but you haven't won anything last season. You came second. You're not a protected species. You are, like everybody else, trying to challenge. And you're trying to, you don't get protected. And it's pre-season. Ten Hag gave you the warning. There's no such thing as friendlies. If you want to play pre-season games and not be tackled, then play them amongst yourself with no tackling rule. It's pre-season in front of, 80,000 people. Man United against Arsenal. It's competitive. I don't have any problems with that. There was no red card tackles. There was a couple of physical tackles. I think that's when you get injured as well. Like, I remember one of my coaches saying we had a league game a week before a massive cup game. And in training, he was like, I know this league game's a mid-table battle and nobody really wants to play it because you're worried about the cup game. But if you go into that game and play half-hearted, you'll get injured. You've got to be committed because it's all about muscles and everything like that. If you don't fully commit and your muscles half committed and you get hit, you'll get injured. And, Martinez has just come back from a bad injury. Oh, you know what, Martinez? Only go into that tackle 50%. No, you've got to. That's the whole point of pre-season. You're getting yourself ready. You've got to give everything. Ten Hag's first win as United manager was Liverpool, says the Inquisition. Thank you very much for that. And Ahmad left on crutches. I didn't see Ten Hag complaining. I don't even know how Ahmad got injured, actually. But, that's just... I don't think it was a bad tackle. I think it was quite innocuous, really. But... Look, I'm not really in for all that anyway. I see a lot of this stuff. I was quite constructive about Ramsdale. I don't think he's a modern goalkeeper. So does Arteta need to look at that the way Ten Hag and Pep have looked at their goalkeepers? I think Arsenal will have a really, really good season, and I think Arteta's done a good job there. I can't be bothered with, is Saka better than Rashford? I think Saka's a fantastic player. I can't be bothered with Rice is overrated and a flop. I'd love Declan Rice at Manchester United. I'm not bothered about all that. It's child. It belongs in a schoolyard, that sort of behaviour. And I think football's moved on. I do think football's moved on. I think we can be far more grown up and mature about our conversations. And it was only pre-season. And I tell you what, if we can get if Arsenal's our rival next season, I'll take that because I think Arsenal will be up there, and I think that's what we need to aim to do. They're a little bit further ahead in relation to their journey because Arteta's been there longer than Ten Hag, and that's what we've got to aim to do. We've got to focus on ourselves. We're not there yet. The worst thing you can do is get in a battle, a heated argument for second place, because first place is just laughing at you. And we always, as a football club, have got to be obsessed with first. Our battle has to be with Man City, not Arsenal. Arsenal's battle has to be with Man City, not Man United. It's an irrelevance. It's an irrelevant argument when you're arguing with each other for second place. First place is what we want to look at. And Man City are just going about their business as per usual. No one talks about Man City, and they're miles ahead. I truly value what you do for this community. Thanks, says Andrew. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be positive. The 8 p.m. show did start early, G. This is why you need to subscribe. Subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Click the bell to get your notifications because, yes, it was meant to be an 8 o'clock show, but I started it at 10 past 7 because of the news around Hojlund and also because I'm just recovering from this cold, so I just want to get an extra hour in bed tonight and hit the week hard because I think it's going to be a busy week for United. As we were talking about at the start of the show, bid goes in for Rasmus Hojlund. Official bid goes in. This is coming in from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, the details of that bid doesn't mean that it's going to get accepted tonight. It's probably going to be over the next week that Atalanta assess that bid and come back to Man United. Could get rejected. But of more interest to me, and it fits with what we've been saying for a long time, both Fabrizio Romano and Padula said that Rasmus Hojlund has told his agent that Manchester United is the club. And one thing that's really important to remember here is, and nobody's mentioned it, not for a while, who is... So you've got good sources saying that Rasmus Hojlund has said that he wants the Man United bid to be prioritised. Okay? Who is Rasmus Hojlund's agent? The same agent as Erik ten Hag. Good night. So not only have we got the player locked down, we've also got the agent locked down because of not because of Fabrizio Romano, because of Erik ten Hag. So look, I'm relaxed. There's nothing that's happening at the moment that's making me not relaxed about this bid. Fabrizio's put a tweet out about Ahmad. Good news for Man United and Ahmad, as his injury is not serious. I feared the worst. It's nothing serious. I'll be back soon, he posted. Well, that's good news. That's fantastic news because, if Ahmad himself is saying, I feared the worst, that could be like 6 months, 2 months, whatever. But remember what I said. If Ahmad is saying it's not as bad as I first thought, I'll be back soon. If soon is 2 weeks, it's too late. If soon is a week, it's too late. And what I mean by that is, I hope he's back for Real Madrid because he needs to be playing in these games. The tour, it's well known. You know it. Everybody knows it. This tour period is where Ten Hag's going to make his decision about Ahmad. If Ahmad can't play and says, I'm back in 2 weeks, then Ten Hag has got a big decision to make because he's like, has he seen enough of him to know whether he wants him to be part of the first team or whether he wants to send him on loan again? And that was why I was disappointed last night, because even if he's got an injury for a week or two, and if it keeps him out, he can't show what he's all about. I think with Ahmad at the moment, I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know whether he's going to go on loan or whether he's going to keep him. I really hope he stays, but he's got to show he's good enough to stay. I'd quite like the dynamic of Ahmad pushing Anthony on the right and Garnacho pushing Rashford on the left. Obviously, Sancho is in that equation and maybe Rashford will go up front. But I think, logically, if Ahmad goes on loan and Pellistri goes on loan, Anthony, Sancho and Garnacho and Rashford could be the four, but I don't think it's enough, really. I would like to keep Ahmad, but he's got to show, he's got to prove it. How much of an impact do you think Onana's going to make? I hope we get Hojlund, but we need another striker as well. Hojlund shouldn't have that kind of responsibility, says Jake. Well, remember Anthony Martial in this equation as well. Anthony Martial is still very much part of Manchester United at the moment. We don't know when he's going to get back fit, but Martial will still be under consideration too. Few people saying that Ten Hag having the same agent is no guarantee. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Cody Gakpo had the same agent and went to Liverpool. But, again, I don't want to come across as blunt, but Man United never bid for Cody Gakpo. Man United had never agreed personal terms with Cody Gakpo. We were interested, but we didn't pursue because we didn't have the money. So you can't really use the Cody Gakpo situation because what you're trying to say is... it's the same as the Rasmus Hojlund thing, and I'll explain to you the difference. Man United are bidding for Rasmus Hojlund, and they've been talking to Rasmus Hojlund for a long time. They've agreed personal terms. And he's got the same agent as Ten Hag. The only similarity with Gakpo is they've got the same agent. We never had the money to bid, and we never agreed personal terms to a point that we were going to bid either. You don't get Cody Gakpo just because he's got the same agent as Ten Hag and Ten Hag wanted him. There was no money there. Cody Gakpo can't say to PSV, I'm not signing for Liverpool, I want to sign for United, because PSV will go, are you an idiot? They've not even bid for you, mate. So it's a very different story. All the balls are in Man United's court here. The player wants to sign for United, and Ten Hag wants Rasmus Hojlund. And this will be a big week. I still think it could run into next week. I've always felt that, but I'm hopeful that the PSG interest will force United to move a little bit quicker than they were going to. So it could be a really big week for Manchester United, and I certainly hope it is. Anyway, look, Goldbridge needs a rest. talking in the third person. I do. It's been a tough weekend in the sense of wellness. I do need a bit of sleep, and obviously we've got a couple. I definitely need some sleep because Wednesday, Thursday, it's early hours watch-alongs, which I'm looking forward to. But I certainly need to get over this this cold, which I feel like I am getting over. I just need a good night's sleep tonight. Seen a few United influencers promoting discounts on United merchandise. I'd love them to dare say that this community wants the Glazers to stay again. This is Mario Franco. I don't know who you're talking about. Obviously, the world's full of jealous, bitter people. Let them get on with it. We don't talk about those people. I mean, at the end of the day, fair play. It's hard to make content, but let them talk. Hi Mark, I know it's a different topic, but this internal investigation at Mason Greenwood is a disgrace. 4 months of silence. They need, well look, Klaus, I would agree with you on that one. We do need to sort out the Mason Greenwood situation. And look, we talk about, will the Hojlund deal get done early this week? We talk about sales, but quite right. I know it's an emotive topic, but when will we get clarity on what's happening with Mason Greenwood? I don't know. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Take care. You're all legends. Thanks for all your support. It's a weird world on a Sunday, but thank you very much for your positivity, the people who were positive. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the 10 o'clock show as ever, and a new week. Let's see what it brings. And it's very exciting around Rasmus Hojlund for sure. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. I'll speak to you in a bit.